Good morning, everyone. Jesse from Two Nichols Farm. Hey, we're just going to give you a garden update today. It's the end of June, so we just wanted to show you what everything's looking like for us. It's not all good, not all bad. A little smaller garden this year than what we had planned on, but we're going to make do with it. We got busy, things happen, so we'll show you what we got going on. Starting over here. This is our 4-foot by 100-foot side bed. The weed fabric is new for us this year, and there's been some learning curves with that. So this weed fabric, for whatever reason, we were having problems getting enough water through it at the beginning of the season. So some of our plants we did not get great germination with, or we didn't get great growth with, and we've had to restart them. Some of our plants, like even these cucumbers, are not as far along as I would like them to be for where we're at in the season, but we'll still get a harvest off of them and it'll still be okay. So as you can see here, we're missing a few. Not a big deal. Actually, a customer of ours needed some cucumber plants, so we pulled a few out of here. But we do have 12 beautiful looking cucumber plants. Those will provide tons and tons and tons of cucumbers. We will be doing trellises on these. We're gonna do basically a couple of posts, one in the middle, and then 54-inch livestock fencing as a trellis, just like over here, which we'll get to in a minute. But that's the plan for that. Next we have watermelon. These are the watermelon and this cantaloupe down there that we'll get to. I could get no germination out of those until I figured out one key thing, and that was we were not getting enough water to keep the soil damp enough for those seeds to germinate. So I started hand watering each hole every morning, and as you can see, now we got good germination. That is one plant that did make it out of the first plantings that we did back in late May, early June. So that one did make it, but that was the only one out of all these holes. So we're going now. It's gonna be late, but I think we'll still get a good harvest. I think we have 16 watermelon plants here all together, and then we pick up with 12 cantaloupe plants. This section down here was kind of the bane of my existence this spring, early summer. Again, just the learning curves. This section did not go well. I tried planting some carrots in here. As you can see, there are some carrots here. I just had to really start concentrating on hand watering. Our soil is very sandy and it drains quick. You could almost not water enough here. So this section, like I said, I kind of just gave up on this. So there's a bunch of weeds mixed in here, but there is a bunch of garlic in here in this area, and we're just using that garlic for seed for next year. So that won't be harvested by us. In here, this was one of the biggest bummers for us. 250-ish onion plants that we planted. We might be lucky to get 25 out of this. They just dried up and died on us. So that was a painful learning curve there. Over there, as you can see, these are all of our compost piles. I get in here actually with a tractor and a blade and flip these piles as often as I possibly can, and it creates some really good soil for us that we then put into the garden. So over here, this is what I was talking about. From there all the way down to there is typically all garden. but we just ran out of time, ran out of energy this spring, and it did not get planted. So basically things like, we had like 8 rows of corn going in here, that did not get done. And then just some variety stuff. Nothing, it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of a bummer. This is a new thing for this year we're playing around with, and we'll do a whole separate video on this as we're building it. But these are all green beans, so we're doing basically a green bean teepee with 12 pots, and then I'm gonna have poles coming up out of each one of these and creating a teepee. And you'll then be able to walk inside of here, and up in here you'll be able to pick your green beans as they climb up the poles. These are all pole beans, Kentucky Wonder. There's 3 pole beans per pot, so we'll have 36 plants total. We'll get a ton of green beans out of that. And coming over here, this is kind of our herb pot section. We've got some other ones over there as well, but here we have basil, thyme, rosemary, oregano, and sage, all of which are doing really well. We actually just did a harvest on all these, so they're down a little shorter than they were, but we get tons and tons of herbs off of those pots. This is a fun little project that we got going on. It's kind of a collaboration with Wilderness Valley Farm here in Gaylord. These are all mums. These 12-inch pots, there's 60 of them, and there's 3 plants per, all of a variety of different colors. So those will be like a kaleidoscope, I guess, of colors. These are 8-inch actual mum pots, and these will all have 1 per of whatever variety of color is in there. We'll have 291 8-inch pots in total, because we ordered 300, but for whatever reason, out of the Amazon box of the pots, there was only 291, so that's what we're using. But these will all be for sale this fall out at Wilderness Valley Farm. Coming in here, these 2 rows right here are our tomato rows. We have tons and tons and tons of tomatoes. I started these back in March, I want to say. And sorry about if there's any wind noises. The wind's picked up a little bit. We got planes flying up overhead, so I don't have mics or anything yet, so we're just gonna have to deal with the wind noise for right now. But anyways, I have multiple varieties of tomato plants. I think there's 16 varieties in total here. I forget the complete total number of tomato plants, but I believe it's somewhere around 75. Most of them are doing really good. We got some tomatoes coming on. Good looking guys. As the season goes on, I'll kind of do another video with all the different varieties and kind of show you what's performing the best and what's not. This fence that we're using, it was left over from our goat barn build, and I thought it would just make a really good trellis, so we're gonna find out if it does, or if it doesn't, it might bite me in the butt. We'll see. But so far it's working good. Some of the varieties of tomatoes are doing way better than others, like this one. I mean, this is already 2.5 feet tall. The biggest thing with doing the tomatoes like this, if you trellis them up and get them, you know, climbing, and then I prune, I don't know if you can see, like here, I prune the bottom 6 to 8 inches of branches off, creating maximum airflow. That is the key to tomatoes. Create the airflow, let them breathe, and let the pollinators be able to see all the buds so that they can pollinate and do their job. Last year we actually we had the tomatoes kind of out there, and we didn't have a trellising system for them last year, so they were on the ground and they just did not do as well as we've had them do in years prior. So this row right here, this little section, is cherry tomatoes. We have tons of different varieties of cherry tomatoes in here. There's what, 2, 4, 6, 7, so there's 14 total cherry tomato plants here. This row down here, we're kind of experimenting with a little bit this year. Instead of doing 2 separate rows of peppers, we condensed it down and split 2 rows of peppers in 1 row. And peppers, you know, they don't take up as much space, so you can put them a little bit tighter together. And this was just a way to use the most or the least amount of space the most efficiently, I guess you would say. So we're trying it out, seeing how it goes. I mean, we have these peppers look beautiful. I have no complaints with where they're at. I've been picking some peppers off of these just because they're still a little bit on the smaller side, and I'm trying to, like, as you can see, this one right here, this plant has this one on there already. Really, I don't want that on there yet, so we'll just pop that off of there. That plant's just too small to be harboring a pepper of that size already. It needs to concentrate on growing so that we get the most out of it for the year. But yeah, all these pepper plants they all have little babies coming on them. So I think we'll have a great harvest of different peppers that we can provide for our family and for the community. This is pepperoncini. These are awesome for like basically a pickling solution, and then you put them on salads or pizzas or whatever. My wife does a great recipe with pot roast and puts pepperoncinis in it, and it's fantastic. We got some banana peppers there, some Elma paprikas. One cool one, these are Fresno chili peppers. They grow, instead of like drooping, these actually grow up, straight up. So it looks cool. Over here, we have 3 40-foot rows of potatoes. Now on the potatoes, we do, basically we'll plant out these rows. We don't put the weed fabric down. We instead will take all the straw, well, we use hay, but all the hay or straw, whichever, from over the winter time in the goat barn, and we'll plant our potatoes in, and then we cover that whole area with that hay or straw from the goat barn. That provides fertilizer for the plants, which, as you can see, they're doing great. They're big, they're green, they look beautiful. The hay also provides a weed barrier, very little weed pressure in here, and what little there is I can take care of in about 15-20 minutes, you know, once a week. So that works out really good, and it also holds the moisture into our sandy soil so much better than if you did not have that there. It's just it's a good way to do potatoes. It also, if you got any potatoes that, you know, are more towards the surface, it helps cover those up so they don't turn green on you. Down here, this was another late plant. We just started having them come up, but These are all gonna be, there's 100 dry bean plants here of different varieties. So like your kind of like your Mexican cuisine type beans. So these are all starting to pop up. This will all get trellis as well. These are all pole bean varieties. So those will all be dried and stored for our family. Over here, this whole area kind of became a bit of a mess, to say the least, I guess. This was all supposed to be brassicas, which it is all brassicas, but we had a big frost right after we planted these this spring, and it killed a whole bunch. See all the empty holes? I mean, it killed a bunch of them off. So we still have plenty of brassicas here, but what we ended up doing, as you can see recently, we came in and planted a bunch of our squash that we had not gotten in yet, and we were going to be missing them. So we just planted them in the empty holes, and we will just kind of let them run wild here as these brassicas die off. We got some potato shoots coming up. We had our potatoes in these spots last year, so some volunteers coming up there. But like over here, our broccoli, we're starting to get some broccoli on. So that's doing all right. And this plant looks beautiful here. No complaints. Over here, we had, this was all lettuce here. As you can see, we have a few left. We had rabbits terrible this year. So I ended up doing something a little bit different for the lettuce going forward this summer. But moving over here, we have all of this is, sorry, I'm blanking out here. Celery, sorry. So we have all this is celery. There's actually a lot of plants there. That's doing really nice. Getting big, doing good. Then over here, my favorite addition that I put on a few weeks ago, I built this. It is a 3-foot by 8-foot raised bed at my waist height. As I push a little bit older, getting towards that, well, I'm almost 40 now. My back and my knees appreciate these raised beds like this, and I'm going to do a lot more of them in the future. This one is, like I said, I planted this out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's amazing the growth that we're getting out of this. So what I did with this, there's 52 lettuce plants in here. These are all pretty much going to be for customers because my family doesn't need 52 lettuce plants. Just what we have left over there is enough. We just cut those and let them grow back as we need it, and that's enough to provide for us. So these will all be for customers. But what I did was I planted the 4 rows here of the lettuce, and I looked at it and I said, well, there's more room in between these, so we're going to try a little experiment. And I put in 2 rows here and 2 rows here of carrots, and as you can see, they're starting to germinate up. So there's basically a rainbow variety of carrots in here, and there's actually like 360 carrots in there, so we'll have lots of carrots to sell. This whole row right here, I put in French breakfast radishes. A lot of people like those, so we put that row in there. There's like 100 radishes in there. We'll sell those in bundles of 6 for $5. So everything here, everything we grow is organic. Well, we don't pay for the organic certification, so I can't say that. It's all grown organically with organic practices. We never use sprays. We fertilize with a product from Dairy Dew, which is just a natural fertilizer that they make, which is amazing. we use a lot of Dairy Dew products in general. So this bed right here is going to be, so we'll harvest this in probably another 2 to 3 weeks. Is that right? By the end of August, I should say. All of this will be harvested. We'll replant it then, and then we'll at least get one more harvest out of this bed this year. So very productive for such a small space, and super easy to work on. So many more of these are going to be going in the next year or two. I think that pretty much covers everything for the garden. Oh, the only thing I didn't cover, one of the things I'm most excited about this year, we added strawberries in finally. I got a mess here I got to pick up, but this whole tower has tons of strawberry plants in it. Now we won't get anything off of these this year. We're just growing them out, but our goal is to fill each and every one of these holes with a strawberry plant, so next year we do get a good harvest. There's a bunch of different varieties in there and they are looking good. So I think in general next year we should have quite a bit of strawberries. Well, my phone died, so I had to come into the truck here and plug in and finish the video here. But anyways, that was the garden tour for the end of June. We'll do another one the end of July and let you guys know where we're at. But basically, we're gonna have a lot of tomatoes, a lot of peppers, a lot of cucumbers, lettuce, carrots, radishes, celery, all that stuff. Once the watermelon and the cantaloupe come in, all that stuff will be available for sale. Lord willing, we have a good harvest, and you know, it all goes well, and the growth from here on forward is good, and we make up for some time that we lost. If all that stuff happens, we'll have lots to provide for our community around here of good organic food, organically grown food. Again, we're not certified. I don't pay for the certification, but we do grow everything organically. There's no sprays, no chemicals. But for now, that is all I got for you. And keep an eye on our Facebook page, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.